Sup, bitches? It's your boy RJ, and it's another PSA Clips. So, I gotta talk to you about this whole Uber thing. Now, for those who don't know, I do Uber. I've been doing Uber for about 6 months now, and I fucking love it. You meet interesting people. It's amazing. Sometimes you get the ones that get on your fucking nerve. But most of the time, it's always pleasant and always nice. You're always talking to different people. They're talking to you. It's always friendly. It's, you don't, like I said, sometimes you get assholes. But most of the time, it's very, very good. But apparently, Uber drivers are assholes to people. And I don't understand why most Uber drivers are assholes, because, like I said, majority of the people that get in my car are nice people. So being an asshole to them is just ridiculous. So anyway, we also got the incident that just happened with the Uber driver who were in between pickups. He was actually killing people. So that kind of put a damp on my shit, because Uber, I don't know what Uber is doing. Now, I was one that was saying, look, can't blame Uber. Uber does an extensive background check. They make sure people that drives for them are not some psycho nuts and all this stuff, I guess. But that's not the case anymore, and he's not the only one that a lot of people complained about. Now, let me explain something to you. It's okay to complain about an Uber driver if he's driving erratic, or if he's doing things that he shouldn't be doing. That's fine. But if you're constantly complaining about Uber drivers because he wouldn't play the music for you, or he didn't open the door for you, or something silly and naive, shut up. Seriously, just shut the fuck up. Alright? I don't know what's going on with the whole Uber situation, because Uber is going down it seems like a really bad avenue right now. And I don't know if Uber is going to be around for much longer with all the bad publicity they're getting because of what's going on, and because they're not getting rid of guys who are being complained of, getting rid of people who's being complained about for having attitudes or driving erratic. And by all means, I think they should get rid of them. If a person is driving erratic or has a nasty attitude for no reason, definitely get rid of them. It shouldn't even be a fucking Uber driver. But you also have to take in consideration that people do lie. It's an American thing to lie. So people could say a motherfucker was driving erratic or had a nasty attitude when they really didn't, because they just want that person to get fired. So it's really hard to judge the higher ups in Uber, because they don't really know for a fact if a person had a nasty attitude or if a person was driving erratic. I think Uber should come up with something like what Progressive has, which is like a camera to watch the road and see how you drive and stuff. They should do that. Uber should have one of those, where the camera monitors the inside of the car, and it also monitors the road and sees how this person drives. If he drives erratic, if he has an attitude towards the customers. This way they could solve that and say, okay, look, such and such was driving erratic, such and such had an attitude. Okay, we're going to go back to the videos that we have, and we're going to check the videos out to see if this guy was doing that, and if he was, he's gone. Every Uber driver should just get one of those little cams. They put it in their car, and it watches the passengers and the driver, and it also watches the road So it's like a dual camera. Kind of like how what I'm doing right now, dual camera. If I can fucking do this off my cell phone, they can fucking do this with some little device. And we don't have the capability of getting the recording to edit. It goes straight to the Uber office. That should be something they come up with to negate all this negativity that they're getting. See, they should come up with something like that. This way, they can say, well, look, now all Uber drivers are going to have cams in their car. And we're going to watch the Uber driver, and we're going to watch the road and the passengers. And if someone complains about an Uber driver, they can go back and look at this guy's tape and go, okay, doesn't look like he had an attitude. Doesn't look like he's driving erratic. Looks like he's just doing his job. Okay, this person is making this up, obviously. This person does look like he's driving erratic. This person does look like he has an attitude. We definitely don't want this type of attitude or this person driving for us, representing our company. We're going to have to let that guy go. Another thing Uber can do is do an extensive background check on a driving record. How many accidents this person's had. What is their driving experience like? Making sure that they get the right people to drive for them, because not everybody can drive for Uber. And that's something that Uber has to understand. Not everybody should be driving Uber. Some people need to not do that shit because they don't know how to drive. Or they have attitude problems. But that's something Uber should do. Passengers. I'm going to give you a couple of tips that you guys can do to protect yourself and to have an enjoyable ride. Excuse me, sorry, I got a burp. Sometimes you have to be able to, you have to understand that you're getting in someone else's car. And that's a lot of times, a lot of passengers don't understand that. They're getting into somebody else's car. There's going to be rules that you got to follow that you might not want to follow. But guess what? You're getting in somebody else's car and they want these rules to be followed. So, make sure you understand the rules and follow the rules. Ask the driver, hey, can I smoke? Hey, you mind if I eat my sandwich? Hey, you mind if I drink this? Sometimes these little things can provoke a driver to go, hey, what are you doing? And that can start a driver to have the attitude with you because you didn't ask him, could you smoke in his car? Or you didn't ask him, could you eat in the car? You just started eating and drinking and doing all this stuff. And you didn't say, hey, you mind if I drink in your car? You mind if I smoke in your car? Okay? Another thing, know your destination. Nothing pisses off an Uber driver more than anything besides the smoking and drinking in the car, not knowing where you're going. Okay? Sometimes Uber drivers, we drive in cities that we're not familiar with. So if you don't know where you're going and I don't know where you're going, then we're just sitting in a car looking like idiots. And then at some point you're going to get mad because guess what? We're going to be driving around and we might drive in circles. And that's money out of your pocket. So it's best to know exactly where you're going and where it's at. It doesn't take you that long to look up, okay, this is where we're going. This is where we're going to be. Sometimes you guys don't do that. And you just expect your driver to know exactly where you want to go. And it doesn't work that way. We're not psychic. So it's best to know exactly where you are. And who goes places and not know where they're at? Like, me personally, when I go places, I like to know exactly where I'm at so I don't get lost. It's that simple. So why would I go somewhere and I don't know where it is? Like if I go to Baltimore, I like to know the main roads to get back. Now, I don't know everything in Baltimore. I'm kind of familiar with Baltimore now, being that I drive in Baltimore a lot. I'm familiar with Baltimore somewhat, but not that much. I know Harrisburg, I know Lancaster, and I definitely know where I live at York, Pennsylvania. I know New York City somewhat. I don't drive up there though, but I know New York City somewhat. It's best to know where you're going. If we don't know where you're going and we're not familiar with that area, we will get lost. Remember, we're not traditional taxis. We haven't been doing this for 10, 20 years where we know areas now like the back of our hands. Some of us is just starting to do it. Some of us have been doing it for a year. You know, the vets, maybe they've been doing it for 5. Remember, Uber is only a 6-year-old company. So, you have to work with us. 2, make sure your Uber is telling us the right place where you're going to be at. Again, that's not on us. That's on you. If your Uber is not saying exactly where you're going to be at and is giving you a location and is saying you're over here but you're really over there, how am I supposed to know? So if you see that the Uber is not giving the exact address of where you're at, because you have to pay attention to these things, call your Uber driver. Send a text message to your Uber driver. You know, cancel the ride and restart it back up. I've had a lot of people that do that. They'll cancel the ride and redo it again with the correct address. That's your responsibility as a rider to know exactly where you need to be picked up from. It's not ours. I get it, some of you use Uber when you're drunk. So you're not thinking of that stuff. Give it to your sober friend, if you got a sober friend. Hell, ask your bartender to call the Uber for you on your phone to make sure we get the right address. It's nothing worse than I get the wrong address and I call you and you're saying, well, I'm not there, I'm here. And then you already have the attitude because I'm not exactly where you're at. Well, that's not my fault. I'm not the one that placed the order for the Uber. So now that starts off on bad terms, and now you got the Uber driver and the rider mad at each other, and it causes conflicts. You don't want that. I don't need it. You don't need it. Give your Uber driver time to get to you. Yes, I get it that on your phone it tells you exactly how far we're out and how long it's going to take. But sometimes things can happen where it's going to take a little bit longer for your Uber driver to get to you. Don't be in such a rush. It doesn't matter how fast you want to get somewhere. You should have left a little bit earlier. If you need to be somewhere at a certain time, give yourself time to get there. Don't wait till the last minute to call us and then try to rush us and then get mad at us because we can't get to your destination on time. It's not our problem. You know, I've had people that I picked up in Baltimore. I remember this one girl, 2 girls actually, they wanted to get to the bus station. And they had to be at the bus station at a certain time. And they waited exactly to right when the football game got out. There was no way I could beat traffic. There was no way I can get around it. And I explained that to him. I said, look, I can't get around this. Like, we're going to be in traffic and we're going to sit here and you're going to miss your bus. There's nothing I can do about that. And, you know, the one girl was okay. She was like, hey, look, it's not your fault. We didn't know what time the game was coming out. The other girl looked like she was genuinely pissed with me because I couldn't get around this. So, hey, it is what it is. Know what's going on in your city. One of the things that I hated when I drove in Baltimore is when I did the football games. And people wanted to get picked up at a certain area, but they shut down the city in areas that I couldn't get to them. And when I explained it to them, like, hey, I can't get to you, you're going to have to walk up, it's somehow my fault. Know what your city does when there's events going on. Because if your city shuts down blocks when an event is going on, then you need to understand that and know that. So you need to make the appropriate rerouting of what you're doing to get to your Uber driver or to have your Uber driver get to you. Because us going, if things are shut down, we can't break the law to get to you. So help us help you. when you get in someone's car, don't touch anything. I mean, yeah, you can touch the window, but don't go around trying to touch the radios or trying to do this and do that, touching stuff that you're not supposed to touch in their car. It's not for you. The proper thing to do is ask, hey, can you turn on the radio for me? Hey, you mind if I turn on the heat? Don't just take it upon yourself to turn it on. This is why cab drivers don't have anybody sit in the front seat, because they don't want you messing with the radio and the heat and any of that stuff. But in Uber, we don't have, I mean, we can tell people we don't want people sitting in the front. It's all right to say, no, you can't sit in the front. But most Uber drivers allow people to sit in the front. And when you're allowed to sit in the front, some of you people take it to that extreme level and you start touching things that you're not supposed to touch. That is one sure way to get an Uber driver to say, what the fuck are you doing? Because I'm that type of person to go, yo, what are you doing? Don't touch that. Don't be so rowdy. I get it, you're out having a good time. Are you happy that you're getting picked up? Or you just love Uber? The Uber driver might not be as rowdy as you. You know, getting in his car, rowdy, jumping around, you know, smacking the sky like you're fucking in some type of fucking club is not cool. You gotta calm down. You're in a car. Okay? I get it. You want to turn up so bad. It's awesome. I want to turn up too. But then there's also the fact that I have to drive and focus on the road, and I can't focus on the road if you're back there turning up and I'm trying to like tell you to chill because you're gonna fucking make me crash. Don't do anything illegal in the car, okay? If you want to smoke weed, fine. I'm not here to tell you can't smoke weed. But don't smoke it in the car. Again, this is a Uber driver's personal car. Not only that, it's illegal. If the Uber driver gets pulled over, he has to deal with that. He's the one that's going to get in trouble. Okay? Don't bring beer in the car. You will be surprised how many people sneak beer out of fucking nightclubs and bars and be sipping in the car, drinking beer. I remember I had this one guy in the car. It was a group of people in the car. And he's sitting there sipping his beer, and the police is like right next to me. And I say, yo, dude, put that down. You don't see the police right there? He's, oh. And I'm like, oh, man, like, what are you doing? Again, I get pulled over for that. I get in trouble because now you have an illegal substance in the car, okay? If the Uber driver tells you, hey, look, the music is only going up this high because I don't want to get audited or a summons, listen to your Uber driver. Don't try to turn his radio up real loud, and then when the police pulls him over, you're like, well, you could have turned it down. It's your car. Also, make sure you get the right Uber for what you're doing. If you got 7 people or more, get Uber XL. Don't call Uber X. You know what I mean? That's what Uber XL is for more people. You don't call the little Ubers and expect them to try to squeeze 7 people in their car. Because quite frankly, guess what? They can get pulled over for that by the police and get a summons. Because they allowed you to do it. I have a rule. 4 and that's it. I might let you get 5. Even though I'm not even supposed to, you're supposed to call Uber XL with 5. But hey, me being a nice guy, I'll let you have 5 in the car. But that's about it. 5. Anything over that, I'm pretty much telling you to call Uber XL. You should probably call Uber XL. I don't care how much you beg and you plead. The only way I'll decide to put more people in my car is seriously, I'll pull out a little piece of paper that says, if I'm pulled over by the cops, such and such is going to pay the summons. I will write that right in front of them and make them sign it. So if you decide you don't want to fucking do it, guess what? I'm taking you to court and be like, yeah, you signed this. And now I know it probably won't hold up in court because it's not notarized. At least it goes into my favor in the court. Because it's going to be like, well, why would you sign that if you wasn't really planning on paying for the summons? You know, so these are a little bit of things you can do to make sure your ride is good and comfortable, and the Uber driver feels comfortable, and you feel comfortable. Uber drivers, I gotta come after you guys. I can't just come at the riders and not say, hey, you guys gotta do some certain things as well. Listen, I don't care if you're having a bad day or whatever thing, you're still doing a public service. Yes, you have more control over this public service than if you would at McDonald's, but you're still doing a public service. Check your attitude at the door. If you're gonna drive for Uber, drive for Uber. Okay? Know exactly what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not. If you can't stand drunk people, don't drive at night when you know drunk people are gonna be out. Drive in the daytime. Work only in the morning. Don't tell me, well, it's more money at night. Well, then you have to learn how to deal with getting drunk people in the car. Catching attitudes because someone's drunk and they had fun makes you look like an idiot. I personally love drunk people. I have the most fun driving drunk people. All right? I love driving drunk people. They always funny. We're cracking jokes. We're having fun. Hell, they always invited me to come hang out with them later on. I personally love this shit. But I can understand how some people can't stand drunk folks, because they can be annoying. But here's the thing. If you decide to drive when people are partying, you're going to have to deal with that. If someone knows a shorter way, don't get mad at them because they want to take the shorter way. Remember, it's their money that they're paying. So do what they say. Hey, look, we know a shorter way. You mind if we tell you to go a different way than going the way you're going to go? Because, you know, that way is going to make me pay more. Don't be like, well, I gotta look, man. Let me just follow the GPS. It's easier. No, it's their money. Be reasonable. You know, if people are polite and ask you before they do stuff, explain to them in a nice way. Hey, look, this is why we can't do that. You know, one of the things a lot of people ask me when they get in my car is turn on the radio. And I tell them, my GPS in my phone, it's hooked up to my radio. If I turn on the radio, it turns off the GPS. So unless you're going to give me turn-by-turn directions, which would be extremely hard to do if you're trying to listen to music, then I can't do that. You know what? I tell them in a nice way. They're either going to get mad about it and catch an attitude, or they're going to be like, you know what? That makes sense. Don't worry about it. Most people say, don't worry about it. That makes sense. Because it does make sense. Now, I do give them the other option, which is, all right, well, you know, now I can play music off my phone. You know, that won't mess up the GPS. You know what I mean? The music that's on my phone won't mess up the GPS. But it might not be music you like. You know, simple as that. If you want to listen to that music, that's fine. But it might not be something you're into. You know, I got a lot of rap in my phone. You know, Kanye West, Drake, all that stuff. You know, and sometimes I got the old 90s rap, which is M.O.P., fucking Mobb Deep. Like, I'm 30 fucking years old, so I listen to this shit. So I tell them, like, you might not like what's in my phone. But, hey, it's up to you. We can listen to the music in the phone, or we can just sit here and conversate. Let them make that decision. That's what I do. I let them make the decision. Another thing. I know you want to get to where you got to get to fast, you know, but be aware of the road that you know, be careful on the road. Like, one thing I can't stand is if you out here driving all reckless, you got other people's lives in your hand. Remember that. Yes, I would like to get them to where they got to go fast so I can go pick up somebody else. But I also want to get them there alive. So, mind the speed limit and drive carefully. You know, you want a good rating, do these things. So that's all I got to say about Uber drivers and Uber riders. I hope you guys listen to this and you actually take some of the things that I say in consideration. You know, because quite frankly, while I drive for Uber, I think Uber needs to get a better rep. And I want to keep it a good rep until I decide to drive somewhere else. So you motherfuckers have a good day. Peace.